Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. So we actually have some news today, some incredible news. There's actually a lot of stuff that I do want to get into here. First of all, we got a new look at Terry O'Quinn as Major General Beale. We have a lot of information on his character and exactly what is actually going to really be shown, I guess, from the character in the show. And it seems like he has a lot of scenes with Rick. And there was a mention of something with Rick that I found very, very interesting. And I actually wonder if there is a way to redeem his character, if there's a way that, you know, they're going in that direction with the show where his character can actually be redeemed. And maybe that is sort of the end here, if Rick is going to be the character that does that. So anyways, I want to get into that and some news here that AMC sort of announced, I guess, in terms of what they have planned, I guess, for the next little bit here in terms of the Rick and Michonne show. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. And also, if you are interested in supporting everything that I do here on the channel, definitely make sure to join the memberships. For everyone that joined, obviously, thank you so much. But if you are interested, the join button is just down below, but let's actually get into this here. So this article came from Entertainment Weekly, so I will leave the link down below if you want to check out the article. So first of all, we have a new shot here of Major General Beale, and it's an incredible shot, obviously. I mean, I love the quality of the show. I mean, I think the show's gonna look incredible, and I just think that, I mean, there's not a lot to read into, but I just think it looks absolutely incredible, and I'm excited to see him as Major General Beale because there's a lot of interesting things I learned about Terry O'Quinn and I guess how he's viewed The Walking Dead throughout the years, and he's never watched it. I think the only thing he actually watched before going into I guess filming for this show was The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. So that's very interesting because I know they finished filming in May, something like that, right? Like it was around there that they finished filming, and at that point, Daryl Dixon, I know they were editing a lot and they were done filming for a long time, but obviously the show had not aired yet, right? So I'm guessing that he was just sort of given a lot of episodes prior, and you know, he was just kind of watching, maybe it was like lower quality or whatever, but basically I'm assuming he watched a lot of that and sort of learned, you know, a lot about like just what the world is like for The Walking Dead, and I found this very interesting. So he's talking about a lot of the details with the Civic Republic, a lot of stuff with Major General Beale specifically, and his experiences, I guess, being on set for The Ones Who Live. And he's asked just about, you know, I guess Major General Beale in general and what sort of idea did he have on the character or background, I guess, that he have on the character, you know, before, I guess, getting the role or going into the role or something like that. But yeah, he says not a terrible lot because it was more about his current situation as being the leader of the Civic Republic military. The Civic Republic has around 250,000 people, which is an exception in the world because everything's getting overrun. So he's sort of an independent person who runs this, but I'm in the present now, so I don't know much about it except that that name had reverberated throughout, I guess, the series here and there. So that part there I found very interesting is that, you know, he obviously, you know, taken on the role. He didn't really watch The Walking Dead that much beforehand. He knew that the character's name was, you know, sort of, I don't want to say a legend or anything like that. It wasn't like that, but it's been heard here and there that there's something very cryptic behind a lot of that, right? And so that I found kind of cool, just because obviously him going into the role, he is, you know, he's learning a lot of that about his character. But this part right here, this is something else that I found very fascinating. So again, I'm gonna leave a link down below to the article. Definitely go check it out because he actually talks about a lot of things with Major General Beale in terms of, you know, just how, I guess, the inspiration for the character and this and that, and how he sees the character. And so that, and just like what it was like filming in terms of, you know, I guess the vibe on the set and a lot of that. But this is what he has to say, you know, in terms of, I guess, just like what's Major General Beale going to be like when we actually see the character. And he says he is the leader of the Civic Republic military, and it operates pretty independently of the Civic Republic government. So he doesn't really have to deal with them very much, and he's held in high esteem. He's kind of a hero. He has a long military history. He served 2 terms in Vietnam and went to officer training school, and he's had to make some decisions in terms of who lives and who dies and how to deal with the mass of Walking Dead. He has a big army, but he has about 2,000 of his frontliners. They're his elite corps, and they do most of the work, be it dirty or not dirty. He makes decisions based on what he thinks will help his community survive, and it's completely that he's trying to make sure that the city survives. So he makes some tough decisions. So right there, I was just like, okay, this character is going to be incredible to see. So I really like a lot of clarification on a lot of this because there's been a lot of things that we've seen and we've sort of assumed. There's been mentions here and there, but it's always been one of those things where I'm like, until we see Major General Beale and the Civic Republic story play out on The Ones Who Live, we're not going to really know a lot about the CRM because we knew that there was over 200,000 people. That seems to be like there's over 250,000 people now, which is about the same amount. I guess they're just increasing it a little bit. But he has 2,000, I guess, frontliners, he calls them, that are sort of his elite corps, and they do most of the work. And so they're going to do stuff that obviously the rest of the military aren't going to do. That I found very, very fascinating because I wonder if Rick and or I guess Pearl Thorne end up, as a part of the elite corps. So there's a lot of things here I'm so fascinated by because, yeah, obviously he seems to have a lot of power. It seems like he's very, very well respected, but the military is operating entirely separate, it seems like, from the Civic Republic government. So this is one of those things that I've been talking about in terms of if we could ever get a CRM versus Major General Beal Madame Genet sort of battle. I've always said that if anything, I see Madame Genet as being more of the villains. The CRM, it's like the military part to it is the villain side to it, but the Civic Republic overall is actually pretty good. The Civic Republic government and just what that place is, it's actually a pretty good place just in general. It's the military that's very, very corrupt and just kind of messed up in general. And so I think if you take down that aspect to it, or if Rick and Michonne can do something where they end up, I guess just sort of making the place good overall, that's what I mean. I kind of see the Civic Republic turning into something like that over, Madame Genet and all that, because it doesn't seem like the military and stuff, and who knows, we can learn that in this show, but it doesn't seem like the Civic Republic military are interested in creating variant walkers and doing stuff like that. Madame Genet is the one doing all of that stuff, which is obviously very, very dangerous. And I think a lot of people can unite, in terms of trying to stop her from doing a lot of that. So that's why I think that the CRM, they're not as evil as we once thought, but there is definitely, there's a lot to it because it's this whole place that has existed since the beginning that no one's really heard of. And there's a lot of really crazy things behind it. I know there's cure stuff there. There's a lot of things there, but yeah, we'll just have to wait to see, I guess, in terms of how evil they are really overall, right? Like it could turn out that maybe it's something, it is a simple fix in terms of you got to make the military better, but maybe the military at some point in the first season of the show, if it is just a first season or whatever, maybe they take over entirely kind of thing, right? And then they end up being a very, very big threat. So we'll have to wait and see at this point here. So the one thing that I really found interesting here was that he actually talks about something here with Rick. And so it seems like a lot of his shots or a lot of his scenes in general have to do with Rick. And this is what I found very interesting here. So at one point in the article here, he actually says, and then he starts dealing with Rick. We don't know exactly what to do with him or who he is or what he is. And so he plays coy with Rick a lot. And I think there's a lot to be found there. So Rick helps discover the heart of the man, I think. That part right there, I was like, wow, that is I don't want to say spoilery, but that's just like, that's a big detail there that we've never, I mean, again, this show is just never telling us anything. So like, we don't know what these characters are about, this and that. We don't even really know what the story is about, right? Like we know that Rick and Michonne are going to reunite and the CRM are bad, but that's all we know basically. So seeing this part here is very, very interesting. So I guess at some point he meets Rick and he doesn't know what to do with him or like who he is or what he is. So I'm guessing at first it's just he's this random guy, but there's something about Rick that makes him more special. And so obviously there's this special relationship that is sort of formed immediately, or connection between Rick Grimes and Major General Beal. Then I think there could be, I don't know what it is between the two characters, but Rick obviously has some sort of importance to the military, maybe in terms of leadership and all of that. And there's something there that maybe Rick is trying to teach Major General Beal. There could be some stuff there. And so the last line here, so Rick helps discover the heart of the man, I think. I'm wondering if that's one aspect to it. Like Major General Beal wants to do certain things and there's all these things happening, but I wonder if like Rick, his efforts in terms of trying to put a stop to it, Rick giving an amazing speech again, it seems like we're probably going to get that on this show. Stuff like that, I wonder if that changes him, right? And I wonder if he finds his heart in that sense. And that's something that maybe we could see at some point in this show. So that's a very, very interesting line. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what that means. Honestly, it could be a thing that Major General Beal has been sort of he hasn't been challenged in a way in terms of his decision making or anything until Rick has come along, and now it's making him rethink a lot of stuff. And so maybe he turns out to be a bigger villain because of that. Maybe he at that point now, maybe he treats Rick even worse because of that, because Rick is showing him something that he just doesn't want to see, right? And really all he gets into here later on in the article is like, working with Andrew Lincoln and stuff. It was really awesome. He's a pro, he's a professional and all that. And the one thing that I thought was really cool was that he didn't really know a lot about The Walking Dead, like I mentioned earlier. And so there would be certain things happening or whatever. They're filming a scene, and Andrew Lincoln would actually tell him about the history of the show and certain things that have happened and all that. That I really, really liked. Like Andrew Lincoln actually helping Terry O'Quinn with just sort of the history of the world. Like that I really love, because it's Andrew Lincoln, like really caring about the world and knowing about, obviously he spent so much time there, he's going to know a lot of stuff that has happened, but it's like, that's just the part to it where I'm like, I think it's going to add so much more depth there, right? Like there's just all that knowledge, that stuff, the actors knowing certain things and learning all of that. It's going to add a lot into, I guess, the scenes in general, right? So I'm I'm so excited for this show. I think this interview here was just, it wasn't that revealing, but it also was revealing, right? Like I know a lot about Major General Beal at this point, and I'm very excited for the show. I'm really just, honestly, I am just waiting for the trailer to come out so I can actually just look at the scenes and break down some story elements. But in terms of the backstory to the characters, I don't really need to know anymore. Like this stuff here was honestly like awesome. I wouldn't mind knowing a little bit more about the story in terms of like some stuff that they're trying to do or this and that, but maybe that's going to be a reveal in the show. I feel like next, because we have Jadis and Major General Beal, I don't know who's going to be next in terms of, I guess some these character interviews that come out with EW, but I'm assuming it's going to be maybe Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera. Like I feel like they're about to do a lot of press here for the show, because it's been pretty quiet from them for the last however long. So I do think that stuff is going to get started right away. And again, as of right now, we are just still on trailer watch. I don't know why the trailer is not coming out yet. It is January 9th. We are, what is it now? 47 days away. And I actually posted this tweet here yesterday. I posted that Daryl Dixon's trailer released 51 days before its premiere. Dead City's trailer was released 38 days before its premiere. The Ones Who Live is 48 days from its premiere, but that was yesterday. So as of today, it is now 47 days. So when I'm looking at it, like I think that the trailer really is like at any point now it can be released. It really is like we are that close. Daryl Dixon releasing 51 days before its premiere. Maybe that was due to the fact that it was Comic-Con, so it was sort of the perfect time to release it. Maybe they would have preferred to wait until Dead City, just in terms of when they released it, so like 38 days prior. Regardless, in the next week, it seems like we are going to be getting it. Like in the next week for sure. I still think it should be this week. If it's next week, that's just kind of insane. Like honestly, next week, we're almost exactly a month away from the show's premiere. So like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like they can really be promoting the show a lot right now, but they're teasing everybody. They're really hyping a lot of stuff up right now. They can feel the anticipation. I've been seeing it everywhere online. People are starting to get very like, where's this trailer? What is happening right now? And it's honestly, it's picking up quite a bit, and I've never seen it like this. So I just at this point I can't wait for this trailer to come out. And again, I mentioned before that there was some news or whatever that came out. So AMC actually, I guess they're going to be doing, and I know they did this, I think, with the final season. I don't know if they did this with Dead City or Daryl Dixon, but I know with the final season they did that. I think going into it, there was like a best of like the four main characters. And so they're doing the same thing here. There's going to be a best of collection in terms of episodes and stuff from The Walking Dead. It's going to release on February 1st, 2024. And obviously it's going to hype up a lot of The Ones Who Live. So there's a best of Michonne, and there's going to be a best of Rick. And so I'm excited for that. Obviously, I'll review what I can from that. Like I do plan to review it. I don't know how I'm going to review it, because I'm not going to watch every single episode and just review all the episodes kind of thing. I think what I'll do probably is like I'll watch the episodes kind of thing, and just talk about sort of, my favorite moments, this and that, and then I guess get into what I think these episodes are sort of hyping up kind of thing. And there's actually a lot of episodes. Like I'm seeing here that the best of Michonne episodes, apparently, according to @TWalkingDWorld on Twitter, which is where I got the news from here, for Michonne, it's actually Seed, Clear, No Way Out, Rockin' the Road, Scars, What We Become. And then for obviously for Rick, there's Days Gone By, Better Angels, Beside the Dying Fire, Clear, No Way Out, Rockin' the Road, What Comes After, and then Rest in Peace. So I don't know if I can really watch Rest in Peace. Honestly, for me, that episode is just very hard to watch. Like it's more of a personal thing for me. There's just something with the ending to that episode that it just reminds me of a really, really bad time. So it's just kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm so disappointed with that. I hate that my experience of the final episode was ruined in terms of certain scenes in the episode. Anyways, the ending though, I kind of ignored everything because I was like, oh, that's Rick and Michonne, right? But yeah, so I don't know about that episode, but in terms of everything else, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like for Michonne, you know, you have Seed, Clear, No Way Out, Rockin' the Road, Scars, What We Become. Those ones I would say definitely like that, you know, those are really big Michonne moments. I can see that. Scars especially, What We Become, I think is her final episode. Rockin' the Road, that is a Rick and Michonne episode. So obviously that one there is included with Rick as well. That I think is actually perfect for the two characters. In terms of Rick's final episodes, there's Days Gone By, which obviously makes sense. That's his first one. Better Angels, Beside the Dying Fire. Those episodes I feel like were, you know, the very first times that Rick really was tested. Like there was really insane things that happened in those episodes, obviously with Shane and stuff. Clear, obviously Morgan came back. That was a really big episode there. No Way Out was like obviously phenomenal. Rockin' the Road was another big part of his life in general. What Comes After his final episode, and yeah, you know, I think that honestly these are like really great episodes that they actually chose here. So I'm very excited to actually watch that. I definitely will be watching all of them. I'm just not going to review every single episode and just sort of get into a whole thing like that, because that's a lot. But I'll talk about that in some respect. But yeah, obviously it's a big deal, and I'm ready right now, and everyone is just waiting for the trailer, and I'm still waiting for the trailer as well. I don't know when it's coming out. It's honestly, it's getting frustrating. Like I feel like at this point now, I'm just like, is it coming out this week? Like to me, I think that tomorrow there should be some sort of teaser, like 24 hours or something like that. If there's nothing like that, then I don't think it's going to be coming out this week. I think it'll be out next week. Like the way I see it is for sure, like when I'm looking at the calendar right now, January 22nd to the 26th, that's like that's obviously the last week of January. There's a little bit, I guess, into the next week, but that's basically a month until the show's premiere. I don't see them releasing the trailer that week. I think that's way too soon, because at that point, the show is literally premiering in 4 weeks. Like that is like, yes, we're all going to watch it still, and there's going to be a lot more hype, but in terms of trying to get people to watch it, like that's not enough time to show people like, oh, the show is out. And that's one of the things that I'll say too, like in terms of The Ones Who Live, like people know about this show, but people don't really know about this show. Like it's a strange thing, because like if you're looking back to like, you know, just the news about this show, yes, there's a lot of hype. People get very, very excited. Like there's been certain teasers that have come out that a lot of people have seen, and people are like, oh, I'm gonna watch this show. But I don't think a lot of people know when this show is coming out. Like I don't think people know specifically it's February 25th. Not a lot of people know anything about the story. There's not a lot of promotion for the show's release. And so as of right now, I feel like it's a lot of hardcore Walking Dead fans that sort of know a lot of this. I think that there's probably a little bit more obviously hype for the show than the other previous two shows like Dead City and Daryl Dixon. But like, I just think they need to be promoting this a little bit more. And again, I did hear of something that was supposed to happen. I don't know when that's supposed to be happening. That might not be a thing until like March or like late February. And I actually think it's a really cool thing. I think that's definitely going to create a lot of awareness, definitely for the show. But in terms of just in general, from what you're seeing online, I don't really see anything. And maybe they're still viewing it as it's still too early. Maybe they're trying to build up some anticipation right now. I have no idea what their plan is, and maybe it's working. You know, maybe me getting frustrated about all of it is working because, you know, they're frustrating fans because people care that much, right? So maybe that's what they want to do, because you want people to care. I just think that there should be at least an announcement for when the trailer is going to be coming out. Like, even if it's next week, just say January 17th, like something like that. You know what I mean? Just anything where you can just say, this is the date that the trailer is coming out. And basically just get hyped for this, right? Because it just kind of feels like there's not a lot to get excited about. I will say there is still stuff that is coming out. Like there's more TV spots. There was actually a new TV spot that I was going to talk about, but I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to talk about that, because first of all, there wasn't anything new about it. It was similar to the shot of of Rick where he was holding the phone. Instead, this time it's actually of Michonne holding the phone, and it's just like a very short teaser. But I mean, again, I guess that is in some way, you know, there is more promotion and stuff like that. But I would like to see a little bit more, you know, just in terms of, I don't know, just a lot more hype and stuff in general. So I guess as of right now, we're just going to have to be a little bit more patient. I don't know when they're planning to release this. At this point, honestly, I don't see it being this week. Like, I know I was very confident in that. I see it being next week. If it doesn't come out next week, honestly, that is insane. Like, if the trailer does not actually come out next week, that means that it's coming out exactly a month before the premiere, which I will say is kind of hilarious because, like, I actually posted that yesterday. I was like, imagine if we don't get a trailer or whatever. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, imagine if we just got no trailer, because it almost feels like at this point, it's just never going to be released. Like, it's never going to come out. Anyways, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But obviously, we got some awesome news today. We got an interview from Entertainment Weekly. Again, I'll leave a link down below to the article. We learned a lot about Terry O'Quinn's character, Major General Beal. I'm very excited to see more from him. It seems like there's a lot of scenes between him and Rick specifically, so I'm very, very interested in that. What that means for the story overall, if Rick is going to be one of those characters that I guess is trying to change him overall. I feel like that means that we're going to be getting a lot of like inspirational scenes and stuff like that in general. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.